He started cheating and became a good husband. Throwaway because some friends know my main. So, I, 33F, have been married to my husband, 35M, for 7 years. And for most of that time, I thought we had a good marriage. Not perfect, but stable. We had routines: morning coffee together, shared grocery lists, movie nights on Fridays. It wasn't passionate, but it was comfortable. Predictable. But about a year ago, he started changing. He began noticing me more, complimenting my outfits, asking about my day, touching me more affectionately. Suddenly, he was helping with dishes, surprising me with flowers, and making dinner reservations on random Tuesdays. He'd text during the day with, "Thinking of you," or "Can't wait to see you tonight." At first, I thought, maybe he's just growing emotionally. Maybe the years finally mellowed him out. But deep down, I felt something was off. It wasn't what he did. It was how he did it. The energy behind it was guilty, like every gesture was an apology for something I didn't yet know about. I ignored it for months. Because honestly, I liked the attention. I liked the husband he had become. Then one night, I noticed his phone lighting up in the middle of the night. I glanced over and saw a heart emoji from a contact saved under the name Ben Work. Except, Ben doesn't use pink hearts. The next day, curiosity won. While he was in the shower, I checked his phone. It wasn't Ben. It was B, his coworker. I didn't even need to read much. Just a few messages, late-night texts, inside jokes. "I miss you already," and one that made my stomach twist. "You make me feel alive again. I can't stop thinking about you, but I'll never leave her. She deserves better." That last line hit me harder than the cheating itself. He wasn't planning to leave. He wanted to be both people's hero. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I started watching. And it became clear. His guilt over cheating had turned him into the perfect husband. He was overcompensating in every way possible. When I finally confronted him a month later, he cried. He confessed everything: how it started emotionally at work, then became physical after a company trip, how he hated himself for it but couldn't stop, how the affair made him realize what he stood to lose. He said I was the love of his life, that I didn't deserve the version of him I had before, that somehow the affair woke him up. I asked if he'd ended it. He said yes. I didn't believe him, and I was right not to. I found out 2 weeks later they were still in touch. That was when something inside me just shut off. He wanted redemption, but I wanted peace. I moved out quietly, without drama. Just a note on the counter. "You finally became the man I wanted. Just not for me." Update 3 months later. He's been messaging, begging to talk. Says he ended it for real, that he's in therapy, that he's a changed man. Funny thing is, maybe he is. But I can't unsee the way he had to destroy our marriage to become the version of himself I'd been praying for. It's tragic, really. He cheated his way into becoming a good husband. Just not mine anymore. It's been a little over a year since my original post. A lot has changed, for both of us. To recap quickly, my now ex-husband, Mark, started cheating with his coworker B about 2 years ago. The irony was that while he was betraying me, he also started acting like the best husband I'd ever had: thoughtful, loving, attentive. When I finally discovered the affair, I left quietly. I didn't scream, didn't rage. I just walked away. That quiet exit messed with him more than anything I could have said. Life after leaving, at first, everything felt hollow. You'd think leaving a cheater would come with some sense of empowerment, but for months, I just felt numb. It was like I'd been watching someone else's life through glass, and now that the glass shattered, I was left picking out tiny shards from under my skin. I got my own apartment, small, quiet, with sun that hit the kitchen window around 9 a.m. I started cooking for one, rediscovering what kind of meals I liked. I bought new bedding, new plates, even new glasses. No shared memories attached. I started therapy. And somewhere around the 3-month mark, I realized I wasn't missing him. I was missing the version of me that existed before him, the one who still believed in forever. Meanwhile, Mark kept trying. He sent long messages about how he'd gone no contact with B, that he was in therapy, that he finally saw how selfish he'd been. He begged for a chance to show me that he'd changed. At first, I ignored him. Then curiosity, and maybe nostalgia, made me agree to coffee. He looked tired. The kind of tired that sits behind your eyes. He told me B had transferred to another branch, that they hadn't spoken in months. He said therapy was forcing him to look at his childhood, his insecurities, his need for validation. He was calm, almost humbled. For the first time in years, he wasn't defensive or arrogant. But as he spoke, I realized something. He was saying all the right things, just too late for me. I left that cafe feeling lighter. Closure, maybe. The twist. B comes back. About 6 months later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was B. She said she didn't want to cause drama, but she needed to tell me something. I ignored her at first. What could she possibly tell me that I didn't already know? But she was persistent. When I finally answered, she dropped a bombshell. Mark had started seeing her again. Apparently, after I refused to reconcile, he'd fallen back into old patterns. But this time, it wasn't romantic. It was obsessive. He kept messaging her, showing up at her new office, saying he needed closure. He told her he'd lost everything and that she'd ruined his life. She ended up blocking him, changing departments again. It was surreal, hearing her sound scared of the man who once betrayed me for her. Karma's slow burn. Fast forward a few months. Mutual friends started updating me on Mark, small town problems. Apparently, after B completely cut him off, Mark spiraled. His therapy helped him uncover things. But instead of healing, he got fixated on being the good guy who lost everything. His company quietly let him go. Rumors of unprofessional behavior and emotional instability. He sold our old house to pay off debts. Word is, he's renting a small apartment now, working freelance. He tried dating again, but apparently, no one lasted past a few weeks. He became the man who once had everything and watched it all slip away, one self-inflicted cut at a time. My quiet victory, Tenacio. Meanwhile, I got promoted. I started running, joined a book club, and finally took that solo trip to Portugal I'd been dreaming about for years. I met someone, slowly, unexpectedly. He's kind, not perfect, but real. We take things at our own pace, no grand declarations, just gentle consistency. Sometimes when I think about Mark, I don't feel hate anymore, just a quiet, almost bittersweet gratitude. Because if he hadn't cheated, I might never have left. If he hadn't broken me, I might never have rebuilt myself. The final twist. The letter last month. I got an envelope with no return address. Inside was a handwritten letter. It was from Mark. I finally understand. I didn't become a good husband. I became a guilty one. You deserved the version of me that only existed when I was trying to erase what I did. I hope you found peace. I'm still looking for mine, no signature. Just that. I folded it back, put it in a drawer, and went for a walk. The air felt lighter, like something old had finally left my chest. Epilogue. B apparently moved overseas for work. I heard she's engaged. Mark's alone, still posting vague quotes about growth and forgiveness on Facebook. As for me, I'm not bitter anymore. I don't need karma to strike. It already did, in its quiet, surgical way. He cheated to feel alive. And in the process, he killed the life we built. But in the ashes, I found myself. And that's the part of the story he'll never get to touch.